Good evening, good people. It's 6 o'clock Eastern Time. That means it's time for another original roll reveal. Your host, Chuck Daughtrey on Copper Coins. This is a 1987D original roll. Now, we've seen it up close before. It has a couple of little minor spots on the ends. Now, if this roll gets really crappy on the inside, then we'll just nullify it, go to another roll. But for the most part, any minor spots are going to pass. Just the way it is. If we happen to have any minor spots, they'll pass through because, well, this is 1987 that we're talking about. Some really nice RPMs to be found in this issue. Possibly even a couple of decent double dies, but the RPMs are what we're really after on this. As being one of the first years of zinc cents, they did have a little bit of quality issues with the dies and with the planchets, and striking the coins was kind of a hit or miss issue. Some of them came out really nice, and some of them came out, well, just not so good. I'm hoping that this is part of the really nice crowd. Well, we don't know yet. Tim, we're getting ready to find out. Because I did pre-pack these. I got coin number 1 already displayed here. Coin number 1 is going to be Yo Man Go. I put all these in the flip inserts. Put all in with the flip inserts at complete random. So nobody would be the wiser as to who was going to go in what order, and I have no clue who goes in what order. Yeah. Okay, we have a couple of circulated coins in this one as well. Can't get by without that, I guess. Anything that doesn't come up 87D, you're going to get yourself a refund on that. So here's Yo Man Go, first coin. Ooh, that shows it was exposed to the outer part of the roll. Shows pretty well, actually. Let's take a look at the other side. See if we happen to have anything on the reverse. You see that stepping off right there, right near the rim? That's die wear, folks. That's what zinc planchets will do to the dies after being used a rather large number of times. Hello, Andrew. Who we have here? Joe McBride, Tim Morrell, Eric Byer, Yo Man, Adam Chambers. Who else? Bill Crescen's here. Jessica. I saw your planter outside. That's very nice. Alright, so that's coin number 1. Let's go ahead and find out who gets coin number 2. It's going to be Marshall. Guess I need to have these flipped around in that direction. Yeah. That's the direction that works. Here's coin number 2 for you. Got a few spots. Not really great, but not too bad either. If we find a die variety, it's going to be worth something. Even with these few spots on it. Got nothing here for coin number 2 either. Moving on to coin number 3. Coin number 3 is going to be Mike Birchman. Boy, I tell you what. No varieties yet. 87D isn't... Well, I guess they're not highly populated with varieties, so they're a little bit hard to find. But it's one of those cases of, man, there's some good stuff in it. So you can't go without looking. Number 4, John Brandon Bowe. Let's take a look at number 4 and see what we get. Now, one thing that's important to be watching for, I'm going to see if I can find a picture of it. If I can find a picture of it, then I'll bring it up and show it to you so we can all look for it together. Because this is something I've never actually seen listed anywhere. Nope, can't find a picture of it right there. Let's see, where else would we go for a picture of it? I'm over here clicking on my other screen, so be patient. No, it's not listed. So we'll just keep digging along and see what we can see. There's one that shows a D between the 1 and 9 of the date. Let's see if I can bring it up on my website. It might be on my website. And no, not listed there. Okay. Well, there is an RPM for 1987D where there is a misplaced mint mark in the 1/9 of the date. And that is something to be watching for sure. With regard to double dies, there might be a few minor double dies. We'd check everything just to be sure. But there's a few minor double dies known. Let's see if I can get some of that to show. Okay, there's two nice double die obverses. I'm on right now I'm on whatchamacallit, Variety Vista. Yeah, that's what you call it. So here's a really nice one that shows in the LIBER of Liberty real well. You can see that in their small photos. And then there's another one, it's class 6 in the date, shows mostly on the trunk of the 9. A little bit on the outside edge of the 8. And then let's see if he has any double die reverses listed. No, it's got nothing listed for double die reverses. Let's check over here on Wexler's. No, that's not where I want to be. I want to be here. And Memorial Scent 1987D. There you go. There's one that shows in the trunk of the 9 of the date. That's Kaneka's die number 2. And here's the one that shows really well in Liberty. That's Kaneka's die number 1. And that's all that shows. So there's only 2 known double die obverses. No known double die reverses. So we keep looking. It doesn't mean that there aren't any. It just means there aren't any known. We could change that today. Maybe. Maybe John Brandon Bow gets his coin number 4. And now coin number 5. Coin number 5 is going to go to Mr. Marshall. Got nothing on the mint mark. No doubling on the date. I even look around the ear. Why not, right? No doubling on the obverse. Let's flip it over to the reverse and see if we found anything here. There's that ridge line that I was telling you about. This is just die wear, and it's how die wear manifests itself on the steel dies that are striking zinc scents. And this was just for the first few years. Something was resolved to make that go away and stop happening. You like it this way better, Joe? I do too, because I don't have to pay any attention to whether or not I'm stuffing a name. I don't know the name until I flip it over. There's Jeff Dunn. Jeff Dunn will get the next coin. I think it's going to go quite a bit faster too. So I took a little bit of time out to show everyone what we're actually looking for that's already listed, and then to get our hands on anything that may not be listed. And no stories yet. I don't know what other stories to tell. I could make something up, but it wouldn't be near as good as the truth. I don't know. You guys can tell me. What do you want to hear about? I'll let you hear about something as soon as you tell me what you want to hear about. Here, Fox Run Forge. We do have a few spots on pretty much all of these coins. Some of them are very spotty. Most of them are not. Most of them are pretty well uncirculated, just nice coins. The spots aren't nearly as visible when you pull it out to non-magnified view. That's coin number 7. Now coin number 8 will be... Yo, man. God, I wish this roll wasn't like this. It's just on the borderline of being, oh, that's good enough, or no, that's not good enough. See, this one's not good enough. I don't like this coin at all. All right, number 9. Has anybody started packing yet? Packing for the move? No, not yet. Haven't begun packing for the move yet. I'm going to start that pretty much as soon as things are over for this coming week. I've got a lot of stuff to take care of. It's the first double die I found. Well, I've told this story, but I'll tell it again. Back in the early 80s, I used to go through my mother's change in her purse. And it turned into a thing where I was doing pretty much a regular full search of her purse. Every time she'd lay it down, I'd say, okay, time for me to go through it. She'd say, go ahead. And I'd pull out her change, pull out the silver quarters and dimes or whatever might be in there that's silver, and then I would look through the pennies. I look through the nickels. And pennies and nickels I'd keep in folders. I had 2 or 3 folders of each that I was building sets of. And so we would sometimes go through them together, just to be doing something together, but most of the time it was just me. And so I built up a pretty decent little collection of nickels and pennies and a few buffalo nickels here and there, some silver dimes, some silver quarters, and all that kind of stuff, just by going through Mom's purse. And one time, she came home from work and had this red book. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. It's a price guide of coins. That's pretty neat. Say, Mom, it's 1982. I wonder how off these prices are, considering this book is from 1969. She said, well, don't worry about it. She's just getting an indicator anyway, just getting an idea. Okay. So I looked through the prices in there, and they were pretty low. I mean, the silver coins were 30 cents for a quarter. I was like, well, I think they're probably worth more than that now. So I had Mom take me over to the bookstore, and I purchased a brand new red book and took it home. Brand new 1982 red book and took it home. Was looking through it, and I noticed in the nickel issues, 1939, it said doubled Monticello. I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. So I took my nickel book number 1, and I pulled it out, and the doubled Monticello was nowhere to be seen. So I pulled out my book number 2 with slightly lower grade coins in it, and pulled my 1939 1939 plain nickel out, and voila. Suddenly I knew exactly what the doubled money solo looked like, because there was absolutely no question that this was doubled. So from that day forward, I kind of knew what a doubled die was. Kind of knew how to look for them. Ooh, that was Adam Chambers. Now for Marshall. And so that 1939 doubled die was the beginning of my die variety. You know, I had been attracted to Lincoln Cents earlier than that because it was what I could really afford to collect. I couldn't afford to keep a bunch of quarters or anything like that, so I decided Lincoln Cents were the thing that I would be able to afford more of into the future. And that plus the 1982 7-coin set had just come out, so I decided I was going to try to find a full set in circulation. And there were just a number of things kind of drawing me toward pennies. I had a lot more pennies than anything else. I had been started on pennies in 1975 when my dad's friend brought me rolls of pennies and Blue Whitman folders to fill up. I had a whole bunch of wheat pennies at that point, so I decided, you know, that's where I was kind of going to go with things, was into pennies. And it worked. I mean, I was doing pretty well with it. I never really got into the old coins, like the old gold coins and the old silver dollars and stuff. I knew I'd never find that stuff in change. And I certainly didn't have enough money to go out buying any of it, so I decided that whatever I was going to collect, it was going to have to be something that came out of change. And so that's what got me started on pennies. In 1984, I discovered John Wexler's book, The Lincoln Cent Double Die. It was a new issue, newly out. My mom would take me and I'd buy a Coin World about once every other month. So I'd have a coin magazine with me. I'd have the trends pricing and stuff. And sure enough, there was a Brooklyn Gallery ad in that magazine I got that had Lincoln Cent Double Die Wexler. And I thought, well, I ought to get that. See if that's something that kind of pars up with this doubled money solo thing, because I thought that was kind of cool. So I get the book, and the whole book is full of Lincoln Cent double dies. I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. Now where's the book on Jefferson nickels and Roosevelt dimes and this and that and the other? Oh, there aren't any books on them. Well, I guess they didn't really make nearly as many because, well, nobody seems to be listing them. It doesn't seem to be a priority to anyone to get a book out on them. I didn't know that at that time there really wasn't a book on them. I was just going by what little I knew. Another one for Marshall. So I get this book and I start digging through my coins, and the first thing I find out and realize is that my 1971 S proof cent that I thought was a major double die and was worth my college tuition was just a normal 1971 S proof cent. Nobody had told me that machine doubling was possible on proof cents as well. I didn't think it was. But once I saw the photos of the real double die, I kind of went, well, yeah, I know exactly what that looks like, and it's definitely not like my coin. Okay, this one's a 1982 cent. So this one is going to go to Don Harmon, but he is going to get credit toward another roll, or he will get reimbursed for this, whichever his preference is. But this is an 82 plain. It is a large date copper. You can tell it's large date, of course, because the 2 has a straight center. It just comes straight down, kind of swoops straight down, then goes across at the bottom. It looks like a little kid wrote it. Then you can tell it's copper because there's no blisters on it anywhere. No little blisters, no little cracks, seams, or anything else in the zinc plating, because this is not zinc, or in the copper plating, because this is not copper plated. So that's a 1982. It comes out of the main pack for Don Harmon. I'll stick it in a fresh pack. This coin's going to do the same thing, and it's going to be for Paul Hampton. This one is not a 1987D. It's a 84D. And This particular 84D is not special in any way, I don't think. Nope, nothing special. So this one's going to be credited to Paul Hampton. And he will get either another spot in a different role or a cash refund. Either one. Whichever is his preference. Now this one is going to be for Tim Morrell. Tim Morrell will take this coin. They say that the RPMs for the late 80s are extremely scarce, extremely difficult to come by. There's an argument against that. And the argument against that is this. They aren't any more scarce, I don't think, than many of the other RPMs for that general era. And to support that, there are a lot of late die-state coins out there. A lot of these are later die-state coins. That shows you that these dies lived a full life. Now, a full life may not be nearly as much as it was for the copper Lincolns. In fact, that was an assumed given by way of Delma Romine's study on die-state in 1989. But it has been roughly assumed that the dies made for the copper cents generally struck about 700 to 750, maybe 800,000 coins. Whereas the zinc dies were limited to more like 300,000 because they just wore out faster. The zinc cent dies were striking against a combination of metal that made it a lot more difficult to raise up the metal, which meant that the dies had to be set with additional force, which meant that they wore out faster. And so, yeah, you've got probably about a third less by mintage, maybe 2/3 less in some cases by mintage. But so many of these coins were left behind, there should be plenty of them out there. Well, the only thing that I can find that would refute that is the fact that these zinc coins tend to rot quickly. When they're put in water, when they're put in mud, when they're dropped on the ground, left out in the weather, they go into a sewer, they stay on a parking lot, the copper plating gets split off, and then they get exposed to the weather. So, it just, I mean, you know, the population of coins from any given year in the first 10 years or so of making zinc Lincoln cents. Oh, I'm sorry, that was for Wild Bill. That's what I'm going to end up doing. I'm going to forget to flick these over and show you guys who the next coin's going to. There's John Brandon Bow. So yeah, there's a number of schools of thought on why the 87D, 85, 86, 87, 88 RPMs are scarce. And none of them are because it's all been hunted out. There are tons of them still out there waiting to be found. The most prevalent reason is simple coin attrition, that these coins just rotted out faster than a lot of their copper brothers. And for anything that'll strike my fancy as far as a double die is concerned, I've not yet found anything. Yo man gets his third coin, I think, in this roll. 3 coins and a half roll. Not found anything really interesting yet. A lot of them are, yo man. a lot of the early zinc cents that were dropped on the ground back in the day, they have long since been eaten out by rust. Not rust, but corrosion. You see, here's the deal. These coins are 100% zinc to the core. And then they're plated, electroplated, in a very thin sheathing of copper. If that sheathing of copper splits open, that exposes, here's a blister right there on the one. If that copper busts open, the sheathing then can't protect the zinc on the inside, lets oxygen and molecules of nitrogen oxygen in, and it actually corrodes the coin. Water itself will corrode these coins. Now, heat is also no favor to these coins. They do melt at a rather substantially lower heat number than copper. I don't know what that number is right now. I have a very storied experience with these coins because, you know, I was collecting coins pretty actively when the zinc cents first started showing up. Man, I was keeping everything. Right, left, front, center, up, down. If it had anything that didn't look like a perfectly normal coin on it, in the box it went. Well, I didn't realize at that time that having a bust merging in with the rim, or having very modeled appearance like this right here to the fields, all these lines, I realized all that was just going to be completely normal, so I collected a bunch of it. I would no more recognize a blast polished die like this than I'd recognize Zimbabwean writing. It was horrible. It's horrible, I tell you, horrible. It's going to be magnificent. We're going to get this roll going, and it's going to be magnificent. It's terrific. 30 minutes and 30 coins. There we go. That's the answer to everybody's problem. 30 minutes, 30 coins. Got to do something to speed this process up. Everybody wants me to do more rolls. I can only do more rolls if I can make more time out of the rolls I do have. If I can turn these into 45-minute broadcasts on a regular basis, then I'll schedule them every 2 hours instead of every 3 hours. That'll get us 2 more rolls a day. Have I ever found the infamous 1982 small date double die reverse? No, sir, I haven't, but I was the first person to photograph and publish photographs of it. One of my friends was the first person to find it. The photographs that Coin World posted right after this die was discovered were my photographs. So I've held one of them. I think there's only been 3, 4, 5 of them found ever. They're not even common enough to expect to find one. They're just kind of stupid rare. Just the way it works. You on an island, a bag of assorted memorials in your loop. No Wi-Fi. What reference book do you want? And why? A book? Have to pick a book, huh? Because I personally wouldn't need one. I'd just sit there with my scraps of paper and whatever pencil I could find and start a new listing system. Just do it myself. But if I had to use a book, if I had to have a book that was with me, there isn't anything that's truly comprehensive. That's what I would want. Something completely and truly comprehensive. The problem with that, doing a oops, that was supposed to be for quads. Doing one that's totally comprehensive would not only cost a mint, but it would be quite unnecessary to a lot of people because they wouldn't want to pay that kind of money for a book when they can go on a website and do it for free. So having a reference book is a handicap in itself because a lot of information has progressed beyond what they've printed in the books, and the books are really kind of out of date. But if I had to pick a book, I'm stalling because I'm trying to think of one. I think of the books I currently know about, it would have to be the 1996 John Wexler Authoritative Reference on Lincoln Cents. It's got more information and a thicker book than I've seen in any other specific Lincoln Cent book. My book, Looking Through Lincoln Cents, is great if you want to read about the series, read about the chronology of the series, and see, what makes different years more or less common. But it's not going to help you with all the die variety listings because only the best of the best are in the book. Cherry Picker's Guide did the same thing. Only the best of the best are in the book, and they skipped a lot of really nice memorial issues. Exactly why, I'm not really sure. Yeah, and the Breen book is also a very old book, and you just kind of nailed it when there's a bag of pennies, and I'm to go through a bag of pennies, what reference book would I want? Well, the Breen Encyclopedia would be an interesting read, but there's a couple of problems with it. The first problem is the cent area is somewhat abbreviated because that book covers every U.S. coin. The second problem is that a lot of his listings have since gone out of date or have been updated to a different die number, and trying to use his die numbers would be of a detriment to anyone and everyone trying to put together a variety heavy set of coins, because he simply does not have that variety listed in the book. Yeah, the original RPM book was okay, but the problem is it only showed one small box picture of the RPM, and then for the markers, it would basically just list out the markers, and I swear half the markers listed in that book are reverse is LDS, obverse is MDS. Well, yeah, we know that by what we're looking at, but I want to know a little bit more about the markers. So you probably should have listed the markers instead of obverse is MDS, reverse is MDS. Not interested, folks. I want to see the markers. A lot of times it's difficult to determine what those look like by seeing descriptions only and not seeing photos. Oh, the Breen book? No, it was $3. But that's still insanely stupid. If they had done any research at all, they would have found out that that book easily sells for $100 to $150. That's the kind of people who will consider something unimportant without even considering the possibility of importance. Ooh, what was that? Nothing. Nothing at all. Alright, well that's 36 coins down now. Doesn't look like we're going very far with this roll. Coin number 37. Eric Beyer. Is that the same book you're talking about? It was the Walter Breen Encyclopedia of U.S. Coins, is what I saw. Someone picked it up for $3 at a thrift shop. They are worth quite a bit more than that. Number 38 goes to Jim Fletcher. Jim Fletcher. Well, looks like we may have a nothing doing, boys and girls. Nothing to this roll. Had to give a credit to 2 different people for not finding a 1987 D roll in their slot. But that works. Don, you'll have to remind me of the credit that you had. I'll write it down, but I've got a lot of things going on between now and the next time I'm going to be doing a reveal. Here's coin number 39. Coin number 39 is going to go to Orig. Nothing on that side. What do we have over here? Can anyone tell me definitively, is the post office open tomorrow or is it closed tomorrow? Are they doing mail tomorrow or not? Tomorrow is an observed holiday for a number of businesses, but I don't know if it is for the banks and the government. No, I don't necessarily think that JT's passing has caused the Cherry Picker's Guide to insanely skyrocket. I think the Cherry Picker's Guide insanely skyrocketed because there were not a lot of them available. Now here's an interesting one. This one is going to be a refund coin for... Wow, Bill. It's going to be a refund or credit coin. But 1984, guess what we could find here? Nope. Not gonna do it. Not the double deer. That was a good anticipation anyway. So I wonder if I'm ready to put together a bunch of these auction packages and get them shipped off. But I want to make sure that the post office will be open before I bother trying to take them over there tomorrow. Now, as they're mailing something today, that's 3 coins now that are not 1987D. It's coin number 41. Eric Bayer. Because if the post office is going to be open, I'm probably going to take a nap and get back up and spend till probably 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning packaging packages and getting them ready. And it will be, probably 50 or 60 packages I'll be ready to send out tomorrow. Get those sent out and get them out of the way. My biggest issue with running business up until I move is trying to get mail out of the way. I want to get everybody's everything that I've owed everybody ever mailed out before I move. Because when I pack to move, the way I pack is not the most organized way of packing. And I could lose stuff for a month or more. And I don't want that to be anyone's coins. I want everybody's coins to be out of here, so if I lose anything, it's mine to lose. That was from Mike Birchman, by the way, in case I didn't flip it over. I don't remember whether I did or not. This one's for Marshall. Got nothing on the date and mint mark. That little silver area with a line down below it, that's split plating. Now, how that happens is while the coin is being minted, if you have a mint mark that is punched too deeply or crooked onto the surface of the die, it doesn't have the right kind of bevel for a release when the coin is minted. And so what happens is the die actually shears that metal. Post office closed July 3rd and 4th. Okay. They're open in Georgia. Huh. That's just so weird. But this What happened here is the copper plating split open. When the copper plating split open, it was sheared by the die. It was actually cut open by the die. And that's why it shows on the D and not on the date. Because the date was hubbed into the die and the D was punched by hand. What okay, Don? not sure what you're okaying. I have too many different conversations going on in my own head to really pay attention to the one I have with you. So, so if you could please, let me know exactly what it was I was supposed to be saying, and then I'll respond in kind. I only have the brain power to listen to the voices in my head. Gosh, I should make a t-shirt about that. Now, I know that the post office will be closed on Saturday. Saturday is a national holiday. Oh, where am I moving to? I'm moving from Morrisville, Cary, North Carolina, down to Smithfield, North Carolina. And it's about I'm going to guess rather 40 minutes away, 45 minutes away to the south, out in the country. There's coin number 44. Now coin number 45. Coin 45 will go to Mr. Fletcher. Number 45 to Mr. Fletcher. This one looks like probably one of the cleanest coins I've seen in the roll so far. Pretty nice BU coin, as it would appear. It is. It's a pretty nice BU coin. No die variety. Still a nice BU coin. And now for number 46. Number 46 goes to Mr. Marshall. Got nothing there. $47. Orig. Nothing there. Let's look at the reverse. North Carolina post offices will be open on July 3rd. I wonder if they're doing mail route, though. I'll have to see. Because if I can, I usually schedule the evening before and have them pick up. So I guess if it allows me to schedule, then they should be here to pick it up. Guess I could look at it that way. Number 48 will go to Tim Morrell. Nothing there but a really nice shiny coin. Number 49 now. That goes to Paul Hampton. This does go quite a bit faster. So I think we're going to do this as a new rule. Flip inserts will be stuffed with names prior to the show. The show's going to be 15 minutes shorter. And I did even stop for a little bit of education. So we could almost conceivably make it through inside of 40 minutes. If I pick it up. Now for the last one. Eric Beyer. 1987D. And just a little bit of a split plating going on next to the mint mark. You can see that it's just getting ready to split open. Didn't quite do it though. Couple little spots. Yomango, Google Images. I've been following the oh, well, that's it. So in this roll, I got what is apparently all normal coins. I will be going through this roll again to make sure that's what I saw. but what I think I saw was all normal coins. Of that, there were 3 coins, 40, 19, and 18. 40, 19, and 18, which go to Wild Bill, Paul Hampton, and Don Harmon, that are not 1987D coins. Given that they're not 1987D coins, we will be discussing either a credit or a refund for the coins in this roll that were not 1987D coins. I can't tell you here nor there before I open the roll, because all I see is 2 ends, and that's it. And those 2 ends were nice, bright, shiny coins. So I had no indication as to what the rest was going to be. The 82, small and large date difference. Okay. I have a video about that, but I'll bring up a picture and I'll show you by picture. There's a place called the Cent Project. And that's this website right here. And so, let me move this. No. And so the Cent Project is this little guy right here, and it talks all about the requirements for helping us out with the Cent Project. You look up here and you've got links. These links will show you the large and small date for each one of these dates. So the 1982, you come here and it talks to you about 1982 cents. Here's the large and the small date 1982. If you'll notice on the large date, your top and bottom circle on the 8 is about the same size. But if you look on the small date, the top circle is a lot smaller than the bottom circle. As for the shape of the 2, you just kind of swoop straight down and then out like this, like a little kid would write it. Okay? Whereas with the small date, it actually has that fancy little curve in the middle of it. You see that right there on the 2? Okay? That will help you. But another thing that will definitely help you is the large date has very thick, bulbous looking letters, and in God we trust, and they're very close to the rim. Whereas with the small date, they're a lot further away from the rim, and they're almost wire-like. They're very thin, almost wire-like, and actually smaller in physical size than the large date letters. Same thing with Liberty. On the large date, the Liberty is real fat, thick, and just heavy looking. But on the small date, it's very pristine and very cut. It's very well cut, like wiry looking. So if you remember it this way, the large date was first. So the large date was the first design, so it's the older design. And then the small date is the new design or the younger design. The old design just looks overweight. It looks soft. It looks more poorly executed. And the new design is the one that's very sharp and very well executed. All the letters are perfectly shaped. And so this is the small date. The new design is a small date, and the old design is the large date. So once you know this difference, once you've viewed this difference on coins, and you've seen it just a few times, you can actually tell at arm's length. You should really never have any trouble telling the difference between the large and the small date. So the large date's the one up here on the top. My dog wants to come in. Hang on just a second. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on in. He definitely made himself known. He was scratching on the door wanting to come in, so I let him in. Now he's sitting right next to my leg. Okay, so that's the difference between the large and the small date for the 1982. But we've also got, here's the 1960. You can see an obvious difference between those. That's the small date on the top and the large date on the bottom. And then we actually have the 1970S in here, where you can easily see the difference. This is the large date over here on this side, and the small date over here on this side. All the differences that I talked to you about when we're looking at coins or otherwise are very obvious in these photos. So like for instance, how this is what I always look at first. This is just my first place to go, as I look at the inner side of the 9. If it points down, like down below the 7, almost like down to the mint mark, it's a large date. If it's pointed and it points back at the 7, then it's a small date. Other things, the 7 sits a lot higher on the small date and is even and equal with the tops of the other digits. Whereas here, if you draw a line straight across the top, the 7 actually drops down a little bit. And it drops down so much that it brings the bottom of the 7 below the bottom of the 0. Whereas here, they're equal. Small date, large date. How many coins did you get in this particular roll? Let's see here. I know you got one that was, it was a 1982. It wasn't a it wasn't an 87. So given that it wasn't an 87D, I'll give you a credit on another roll for this. There's 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, Don, you got 3 coins. One of them wasn't a good one, the other 2 were. Let's see, 74. 1974 is another one that we have a large and a small date for. There they are. Large date's on the top, small date on the bottom. Large date has a rounded inside point to the 9. Small date has a squared off inside point to the 9. Large date has a very blunt top to the 7. The small date has a very sharp top to the 7. Most of the other details are very close, but you can tell by looking at trust that the small date, the word trust is farther from the rim, so in God we trust is farther away from the rim than it is on the large date. The large date almost touches. So there's your differences. You can find all of these plus the writing about them at thecentproject.com. I'll give you a link right down here. No premium on the 74s. There you go. You can click on that link right there. It'll take you right to that website. I think so too, Wanda. Makes it nice. We're not even done with our hour yet, and we've already been through the roll of coins. Now, if I'd found a whole bunch of double dies or RPMs, it would slow me down some. But on a bust roll like that one, we can get done with it in a half hour. I'm going to be back. I'm getting ready to take off now, but I'm going to be back at 9 p.m. Come back at 9 p.m. for a 1958D roll. I'm going to have a 1958D roll come up at 9 p.m. It's almost 7. I got to get things done, so I'll be ready to come back at 9. But I do appreciate everyone. Thank you very much. It's going to be 8 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Mountain, 6 o'clock Pacific. So if you guys get your din-din done, get your walks in, that's what we're about to do. I'm about to take my dog out for a walk. You'll be able to get back in time, and we'll enjoy another hour together talking about coins. I'll appreciate it, folks. I'd appreciate it very much if you'd show up. Give me somebody to talk to, right? You guys have a great evening.